When the lights go down, the real conversations begin. Welcome to Basic Black After Dark, hosted by Black Diamond, where truth, healing, and growth take center stage. This is the space where mental health, family, healing, and personal growth are talked about, honestly and without filters. Featuring intimate interviews with authors and thought leaders who aren't afraid to share their journey. Because every story told reminds someone watching you are not alone. Basic Black After Dark. Now streaming on the Crew platform. Tap in.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, this is Black Diamond from the Crew Network, and you're listening to Basic Black After Dark, the show that meets you where you are and gives you what you ask for. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. We're back, and we're back for another great season. So, welcome to season 4 of the Crew Network and Basic Black After Dark. Tonight, we're kicking off the very first show of this season with a powerful conversation about purpose, visibility, and influence. I'm joined by Deborah Franklin, author, international speaker, and AI strategist who believes your story, when paired with the right strategy, can truly change lives. Deborah is the founder of DFP Group, where she helps authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs expand their influence while staying authentic and purpose driven. She's also the author of 21 Minutes of Prayer for Authors, Trusting the Process with DFP. That's a powerful reminder that your words, your process, and your calling all matter. From storytelling and ethical AI to global impact, including her work supporting communities in Kenya. I can't wait to talk to her about that. So, this conversation is going to be rich, real, and right on time. So, get comfortable. This is Basic Black After Dark, and season 4 starts now. Welcome, Deborah Franklin, to Basic Black After Dark. Hey, so you able to
Hello,
join
how are
us?
you?
I'm good.
Hey, how
How
are
are you
you?
doing? I'm
I
fine.
am good, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here tonight. It's been a long time since we've seen each other in talk. I'm so excited about
It
this.
really has been. I was just telling somebody, I said, I don't even remember when I first met her. I know it was years ago.
Yeah.
But and we worked on a project together along with some other authors. So it's been some ride. It really has. And I can't begin to tell you what it was like. But stories and purpose. Do you believe that stories and strategy can change lives?
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of times we live our lives and we feel like we're living in a bubble. And so when
Hmm.
we feel that way, we don't tend to go out and seek other help. We feel like we're doing it all alone. But when we hear these stories, when you tell your stories, you're able to help somebody else realize that they are not doing this by themselves. That if you conquered it, they can conquer it. Because I feel like sometimes if I had gotten some of the stories from some of the people that I was around, maybe I would not have made some of the mistakes I made, or at least had that gauge to know how to go back to them and be able to know that I had somebody to ask those questions to.
So when did you first realize the power of your own story? Because I know you've helped people with others and you speak so eloquently about it. So when did you first realize the power of your own story?
You know what is really crazy about that? Because I remember it was my first book that I ever wrote. It was called Adjectives. Adjectives dealt with healing yourself from the inside out. Basically, that an adjective is a word that describes a noun, and that you are that noun. And so I was writing it for healing for myself. I never planned to sell the book. I never planned to do anything. I ain't even have a marketing plan for this book. So, and then somebody got the book and they came back and said, "You know what? I am so glad that you wrote that book because it helped me." And I was like, that was the very first time that I knew that my words had power, that my words did have you some type of healing to them, because I didn't know that my story was like somebody else's, because I was a victim of
Right.
that bubble. And so it was really cool to actually see that. So that's been, woo, that's been a while since I wrote that. So about what, 15, almost, yeah, Atlas is about 15, 20 years
Wow.
old. So, which is surprising because I would have never, honey, that would have never thought about that. But I would have to say that was like that major aha moment with words having power and telling story.
It's funny that many authors have that aha moment and they don't realize it until years later that they had that. So, do you think that your journey through education, publishing, and media shaped the work that you do today?
Definitely education, because I fell into it. I tell this story all the time. I never planned, it was never on my bucket list to even be in education, even to touch education. It was never my thing. And so I know that God is definitely a comedian, because being in education helped me to see and how to deal with different types of people. Because when you go into that classroom, you got 30 different personalities in one room that you got to try to reach during that time. And so it also helped me to come out of my once you do me wrong, I ain't got nothing to do with you either situation
Oh
too. Because
wow.
when you're
Yeah.
dealing with children, you have to have that first, third, and 12th try, umpteenth try. And it helped me to soften who I am. And so I was like, okay, God, I've learned the lesson. Can I move on? And then I realized that on different levels is that I might have been there to get my healing, but I was also there to help other children and other people to get their healing as well.
Do you think speaking to God made you move a little further of where you are now had you not spoken to Him?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I grew up in the church. I grew up and I always took my salvation. I've always taken my beliefs serious. And I knew, and I can say I've seen my business and what I do grow even more, especially once I started to seek God for everything that I did. Whenever I started to show up, and it was like I knew that God was the center of everything that I did. So I know that He's definitely a major part of who I am and what I've done. So yes, I totally believe that God being in the midst of everything I do is where I need to be.
So, would you say that that was the moment when you knew you were called to help others turn their lived or their lived experience into platforms?
Um, I think when I know I had to been in church, and I had started listening to other people, and coming from the type of family that I had, I started to realize, I started hearing, if they won't put you on your on their platform, create your own. And that's really what I started to do. And I said, okay, God, I know this is what I want to do, so I need you to help me create my platform. Help me to be able to get out there and do what you have called me to do. And then once I started getting to the, let's say, get into the groove of thing and started to show up in different places and spaces, I made up my mind that I always wanted to help other women in the same situation that I was in, that give them an opportunity to be able to do what they are called to do, and give them a platform, because sometimes all you need is one platform. And it's like, to be able to give you that launching pad to go where you want to go. So that stemmed from, I always wanted to be to somebody what nobody was to me.
Wow. Wow. So, what I can honestly say about it is, from what I know about you, you're authentic and you're visibly everywhere. Every time I turn on some kind of social media, I see you just about here, there, and everywhere. Even up in Times Square, I seen you up in there too. Many people want visibility but fear being seen. What do you say to leaders who are hesitant to share their story?
I'm sorry. Repeat that last part. Where? What about the leaders?
I'm saying, what do you say to leaders who are hesitant to share their story? You know, they say that they got a story, but they either tuck it in the drawer or they got papers of it all over the house, and it's just everywhere. What do
Um,
you say to those type of people?
Yeah, I say to them, your story matters. And so many
Mm.
times, a lot of times people are scared to tell their stories because they are scared of they have that shame of where they came from. They are ashamed of who they are. And in all actuality, if they would tell their story, they probably don't even realize how many doors that it would open, how many how much more serious they would be taken, and then they will probably see what they're doing expanding even more, because everybody needs to share their story, because there are people out here hurting, there are people out here not surviving, there are people out here not doing, because you haven't told your story matters, and your story is what somebody is waiting to hear in order for them to make it to that next
Or
level,
hesitant.
because so often people feel like um their story is um is not important, and that's not true.
And this is the reason why I say authentic. How do you help clients stay authentic while still growing their influence? 'Cause sometimes they drift off and they feel as though I have to say this or I have to say that in the book, and it really isn't them. How do you help them stay authentic while they're still growing their own influence? Deborah's helped me a great deal when I first started. I believe that's when I met her. We were discussing something that I was on somebody else's panel, and she happened to be watching, and she invited me on her show. And this was many years ago that we started connecting, and we it blossomed into a friendship, and it also blossomed into me being a co-author on one of her books. And I still get a kick out of the title. I think I remember the title being called something like "Get Off Your Hind Parts" or something. I can't even remember it because there's just so many books that she has done, and so many authors that she has helped. But she has a wonderful story. Right now, she's just a little frozen. We're still dealing with a lot of this craziness with the weather everywhere. Some people's pipes are frozen, their lines are frozen, and I'm not going to say blame it on God, but He has His way of moving things and moving people around. So hopefully He get to moving some of, I guess, the sanitation and whoever else is working out there to be able to dig everything up so we could get the stories back online and continue to help everything grow. Now I see her coming, trying to come back in, but I'm not sure she's all the way in because some part of her is still frozen. But like I said, she's one of those people that you really need to know. You really need to get to know her. So what my question, she's back, and thank you so much for being able to come back. What's the biggest mistake people make when trying to build a platform?
One thing, I'm not sure if you can see and hear me now. Can you see and hear me?
I can.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know what's going on because the devil is a lie, and we gonna get this done. Technology is doing technology, and I do apologize. So, one thing that I do see where a lot of times people make mistakes is that they have to um do the research. A lot of times people don't do because they haven't done the research, they haven't gotten out there to see what's going on, and then and then on the larger stage, on a larger note, they're afraid of fear. They fear not being able to have success, and so that's why they have to They have to be able to just jump out there and do it.
You know, you have never lied because when before I even came on this platform, my producer asked me over and over again, and I just kept saying no. People don't want to hear from me. I don't have anything to say, and she just kept convincing me and encouraging me to tell me, "You can do this. Let's just go over some things and rehearse it." And we're into the fourth season already. Myself, along with some other great women who have their platforms, thanks to her as well. So, what Deborah's saying is true. You do have to exercise and get out there, but you have to take baby steps when you go about it and know you need to know yourself. You can't just get out there and just say any old thing because people are not just any old people. They're listening and watching you because they want to hear from you and they want to hear what you have to say. And that brings me right back to being authentic. You have to be authentic with what you're saying. Deborah is also into AI storytelling and strategy. So, what's the difference as an AI strategist? How do you see artificial intelligence changing storytelling and publishing?
One thing that I see with storytelling and publishing is that we are operating in a different level now. And it's like now you can, it's not replace. Okay, so let me just start here. For authors that think that, oh, that are seeing all these things talking about, oh, write your book in 30 in 3 hours using AI. Y'all don't do that. Because a lot of times what you don't realize that there are laws out here now that if you let AI write your story, you're not getting credit for your story. You're not getting um you won't get the residual income that you're looking at by letting AI do all of it. Now, can what where I'm using AI for my authors is that I'm using it for their marketing platforms. I'm helping this is helping them develop. A lot of them want book trailers, but they can't afford to get to pay the thousands of dollars. But with AI, I can create and and
Yeah, yeah, AI is the way of the future, and for some, it's kind of hard to use, like myself. But when you have somebody that's like
I
Deborah
can't
that
hear.
knows their way around it, that can maneuver around AI, then I would suggest you continue to go with her. Can you hear me now? She went back out. And again, I deeply apologize. It's got to be this nasty little weather that we're having, but hopefully the weather change. I understand on February 2nd, Punxsutawney, whatever his little name is, he said 6 more weeks of bad weather. So just gonna say maybe he was a fake and that was his brother or something. Maybe we won't have 6 more weeks of bad weather. So let's just pray it on in that we won't have the 6 weeks. Yeah, I'm having just she can't hear me, but um, she just went offline. So we're going to try to do our best as we always do with continuing with the show. Because there's a lot of things that I want to ask her. Like some creatives, they fear AI will replace originality, and I would really like to know what her response is because,
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's going
yeah,
on.
I was
I
just
don't know
saying,
what's going on.
I have maybe it's AI telling us that they don't want us to be talking about them.
I mean, because I
So
started
some
hearing
creatives,
music, and I'm like, I shouldn't be hearing music. I'm not playing any music. I'm like, it was the
I'm
weirdest
telling you,
thing.
it's AI. It's got to be. It's
That
got
was
to
the
be because
weirdest thing.
everybody's talking about AI. Some creators fear AI will replace originality, and I'm one of the people that do. What's
And
your response to that?
I it can. It can replace originality if you allow it. And that's the whole thing. You are in control of what you do in AI. Just like when people were like when TV first came, when the internet first came, everybody was so scared of it, but it has its place. You have to learn how to use it effectively. You have to learn how to use it to where it makes sense. You cannot allow those platforms to take over your creativity. Now, can it assist you? If you're using AI plus human, then you're gonna see different results. But a lot of times people are just plugging it in and letting it do it all. And that's where you're gonna run into the problems.
So how can authors and speakers use AI ethically without losing their voice?
One thing, using it ethically, I promise you, we just had this conversation with my editor. And one way that we were talking about it is that you use it to get, maybe to get ideas. You're using it to get ideas for what you're doing. You're using it to get ideas, and help you maybe organize your thoughts. But to write all your words, that's not cool. You want your words to be authentic. You want you want to put forth your best foot forward, as they say, in order for your success to be your success. And so we can't let AI, because if we let AI take over our world, what's the purpose of having us as people? We're taking the human factor
True, and
out of
having
it.
to have
It's just like
robots
when you go to
already
the grocery
being
store.
developed.
It's just like when you go to the grocery store and you're doing self checkout. Think about how it used to be. You go through the line, you can talk to the cashier, have, just as we used to say, cut up with the cashier. Now, what are you doing? You bagging your own groceries. You used to be able
Yeah,
to tip. I
yeah,
remember
that's
when you
true.
could tip the bag boy. You don't even have a bag boy anymore. So we have to be careful not to
You
let
never
AI
said
take
anything
over.
else but the truth, and that's true. So, what's one AI tool or strategy you think every entrepreneur should at least understand right now?
Honestly, Chat GPT. Chat GPT, use it properly, especially, okay, so now this is where authors could really have a great time using Chat GPT, is with when you're doing your research. Because a lot of times, a lot of us can't afford to just get in the car and drive somewhere. But you could ask ChatGPT, map out my trip between Atlanta and Chicago. It could tell you and tell it to tell you like all the stops that you're gonna make, all the gas stations, relevant things that you would need on. And so that's what those are some
One of the
that.
things, one of the things I want to tell our viewers about Chat GBT, those that are in school, do not rely on Chat GPT to do your work, because that is plagiarism. So I definitely wanted to put that out there, because some people are thinking that it's
Hold
okay
on.
to use it, and it is plagiarism if you're an author as well. It is plagiarism if you're an author as well. If you're using these things, and like she said, to be using them for maybe some ideas, and for them to give you a little, that little backup talk for you that like your friend would do, or some another author would do. But sometimes it seems a little bit more convenient because chat is right there, and you can just chat it up. That's why it's called chat. But it's not called do it for me. Otherwise, it would be called do it for me. So that's why I asked her the question: what is one tool that you can use, at least to understand how to use the strategy of AI? Are you back with us? I still can't hear you. I can't hear you. She's talking up a whole lot. I'm quite sure a whole lot of knowledge and a lot of nuggets that we should be grabbing, but I can't hear
I'm
you at
sorry. I
all.
was on mute. I am so
Now I
sorry.
can.
So a lot of
I
times,
was telling them you was dropping a lot of nuggets.
even dealing with chat is like you have to. Um, a lot of people are not gonna ever leave their houses to do the research. They're not gonna ever take the road trip. But just think about if you were able to go with the chat.
I can hear you. Oh, at least I thought I could. She's going in and out again. You know, Deborah is all about the business, and she's a great leader, and she's led many and in different platforms on different levels, different places and different spaces. And that's one of the reasons why I follow her, because I just love the work that she does. I don't want to put a spoiler alert in there, but she is the founder of DFP Group. And I want her to talk a little bit about that before we go any further. And I want her to tell the viewers what the DFP Group stands for and what kind of leaders do do she most enjoy working with. So those are some of the things that I would like to know. Can you hear me,
I
Deborah?
can hear you. I'm trying
Right.
to add another device because I don't know why this thing keeps playing music, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I have never, when I tell you, I have never had this many issues doing a doing a interview on my, because I do this all the time. I have my own podcast. This is crazy. I'm like, whatever. Let me tell y'all, whoever is listening, this is something that you need because I oh my god, this is just like so crazy. I have never had this. I'm sorry. What was your question again?
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was saying that you know you're all about the business, and you're one of the greatest leaders I've seen throughout this publishing. And as the founder of DFP Group, before we go any further, I want you to tell our viewers what's the DFP Group and what
Okay,
kind of
so
leaders
the
do you most
DFP
enjoy
group,
working with.
it encompasses everything that we do, from the publishing, my speaking engagements, my when we go out and do missions, it encompasses all those things. And with DFP Group, from the publishing perspective, we help our authors go from inception all the way to their marketing. And so we are there with our authors from start to finish. And one of my clients just said, they're glad, they're repeat. They were like, we've worked with you, we love your team. And so I have a full team that they work with. And so that's what makes it so cool, um, with DFP Group. So from even now that I've published, okay, so y'all, I did a thing. And I know Black Diamond gonna laugh at me. I stepped out on faith and I did my first novel, and I'm so excited about it. And y'all, it was so out of my comfort zone. So out of my comfort zone. But God has open up the door. I have actually, and it's called Church Girl After Dark. We're so excited about it. And so we are definitely, what we're doing with this novel is now setting the base of what we're going to be doing with our future and current clients, and helping them to promote their books and helping them to get on different stages and developing that book into multiple streams of income.
So you see, this is what I say with chat and AI. She has a team of people that can get you to those places that AI and chat's not going to be able to get you to. I'm not saying to dispel it or anything like that, because it's just like us coming from the typewriter to the computer world. It does help, but you still got to be mindful. The computers, you see, it's acting up on us now. So we have to still rely on each other and have each other's back as we go through this. Like if I'm frozen, she knows to keep going with the conversation. If she's frozen, I'm gonna keep going with the conversation. But with chat and AI, they just gonna stop. They just gonna break down, and that'll be it. They're not gonna have somebody else come up in through there and just continue to assist them. So that's the difference of what I feel it is. So we hear about influencers, we hear about influences. What does purpose-driven influence really look like in practice?
in my I think purpose driven influence is using your platform for what it's there for. And I know that sounds a little weird, but it's like a lot
Uh-huh.
of times we have to learn how to stay in our lane. Stay in our lane and have purpose. And when you know your purpose and you know what you're called to do, then you're able to operate it in it better. Because I'm not gonna jump over. Black Diamond has her way of writing. I have my way of writing. We might be doing some of the same genres, but what the way I write it is not gonna sound like how she writes it. But we can still be in the same room. We can still do some of the same things together, even though we're both authors, we're both, I think we're both publishers, we both do some of the same things, but so many times people are afraid of being in rooms with people that do the same things that they do. But this is what I tell them: best practices is best practices. You never know who you in the room with. They may have
Exactly.
an idea that you need, that is not that you're taking from them or they're taking from you. This world is big enough. Even down to, I know her producer, but I know her on a different level. I know her from a different space. But at the end of the day, we still all do some of the same things, but we can still hang out together. We can still talk together. We can still share ideas together. We can still do certain things. But that's where people have to remove the fear. And as women, we have to stop thinking that we can't be around other women in other and in the same room and still share what we're doing, and we don't share because we have the fear that they're going to take our idea. Well, guess what? Somebody had an idea. How many cell phones do
Yeah.
we have? That's one idea that multiple people are doing, because
Yeah.
everybody's going to
Yeah.
do it
That's true.
different.
And that, I love what you said with that. About us being able to support one another. I love going to events more than I love going to award shows, because when you're at the event, you really get a chance to network and mingle. Several times I've been to some of them, and if I didn't have what the person was looking for as they're thumbing through my book, I can always say, go to that sister over there, and it's vice versa. And then when we have that little break in between, we're looking at each other's books, and we don't even bother to pay for it. We just switch books. You have
Right.
mine, I have yours. It's not even about the cost of it. It's about supporting each other of it. And that's what I love so much about going to these events, because it's a sisterhood, it's a brotherhood, because we have some brothers that are authors as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I especially love seeing these brothers when they're out there, because to me it's just like a difference when you see them there. Women, we of course we like to talk, but to see a brother standing there and talking about his book and talking about his feelings, and a lot of that is in his books, and he has a story to tell. And a lot of that is in his books. When you're talking about the men, and when we're talking about something that's like that, we usually think the men are the beast, but Deborah, she is a global beast. She is a global impact. I mean, every year she's in Kenya. You traveled internationally, including visiting Kenya. What drew you there to Kenya and not some other place?
It was just by the grace of God, because initially, I'll tell anybody, my bug for missions started when I was in college, because my church would do missions. And so I did my first missions trip when I went to Zimbabwe. So I loved it. And then, our years went by. I finally connected with someone that was in Nigeria. That just totally did not work out. But then I connected with somebody in Kenya, and I said, God, if Kenya is where we're supposed to be, this is you're gonna make our connections flourish, and that's what happened. So we've been going to Kenya now. I think, last year made our our fifth year in missions, but our fourth year
Wow,
to Kenya, and so we have grown. We have supported
impressive.
young ladies in school. We have done books, we've done uh, workshops, summits, the whole nine. We have really changed our visibility when it comes down to being in missions.
So what did you learn from the people in the communities you supported in Kenya?
One of the biggest things that I learned is that we all are the same. I don't care. It
Mhm.
might just, the only difference is it might be a different socioeconomic background, but at the end of the day, they love God like we love God. They serve like we serve, and it's always different levels. But the biggest thing is to see our people in total control, to see our people as the president, to see our people as the in the
Mhm.
marketplace, to see our people doing the things that we weren't taught that we do, because so often our history has been so, let's just say, wiped out, that we don't really know it until we travel and get out and see it. And so that's what makes going to Kenya and doing the missions trips, and what I've learned from the people is that it just you just learn that whole sense of self pride again. That whole meaning of being able to be in that space, in that place, to make a difference. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned, just being able to make that difference and see that it's being appreciated.
So, do you think that that experience shaped your perspective on storytelling and service?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely made me more adventurous in my storytelling, because even opening my mind to be able to travel to the different book festivals and meet people, because one thing by me doing missions, I was able, it took that fear of going up and talking to somebody from somewhere else, from a different country, um and making those real connections. So now when I go back to Kenya, I've met somebody that I met at a book festival, like whether we're in London, whether we've been in Frankfurt. It's just, it's been really cool to even make those connections like we have, and it's opening up different platforms, has opened up different opportunities to work with different business people in Kenya. So that's definitely helped in developing my storytelling, because it's opening my eyes up to see how similar we are as people, especially as women. It is so cool to talk to a woman in a different country and they experiencing some of the same things that we experience here. Whether it's children, the relationships, it doesn't matter. It is just so cool to be able, because a lot of times we think, oh, we're the only ones that's going through this. Oh, I'm the only one that's got kids that are cray cray. Oh, I'm the only one, and my significant other is doing his own thing. But then when you go out the country and you hear these same stories, it's like, okay, my story that I tell will resonate with any woman that reads it or hears it. And that is so refreshing.
I've seen the pictures of you and your group in Kenya, and they're just simply amazing. They are. You believe in growth, faith, and future. So, how do you personally stay grounded in a rapidly evolving digital world?
Oh my God. I stay grounded because I always want to learn something different. And I know that has to do with me being an educator. I know that has to do with me being able to show up in different spaces. And so, with everything that's changing digitally, it's like I'm learning tips and tricks to make things better, uh even down to tonight, having so many technical difficulties. I'm still able to think on the drop of a dime, because I know some people, one thing would have went down and they'd have been freaking out and you probably would have never got them back on. Whereas I'm like, okay, let me
Yeah,
get my phone and see if
sure.
I can log in. And then if it has started acting crazy again, I'll say, y'all hold on, I'm gonna go get my iPad. Or so having those different tools at my hand to use, that's one thing that in this whole digital divide is that even though things are changing rapidly, they're still the same, because the same tricks that we learned while we was in college, because when we were in college, computers were just coming around. We knew, okay, so it's acting crazy, just cut it off and turn it back on. And sometimes that's what you got to do. And so that's one thing. Staying grounded is not in the other thing that keeps me grounded is that I don't totally depend on technology for everything. And that's
Right.
one thing that we have to do. We cannot completely depend on it. Yes, make it a part of your life. You're going to have to, because we can't make it if we don't, but don't totally depend on it.
Right. So, what advice would you give someone who feels called to more but doesn't know where to start?
There's two things, well, maybe three. One is just get started. That's number one. Number two, find you a coach. Find somebody that you can talk to about what you want to do. Do your research, because a lot of times everybody not like me. If I say I want to do
I know
something,
you.
I'm just gonna just do it. And I'm because I'm a visionary. So if I see it, I'm just gonna execute. Now, it might not be right, but I'm gonna try it. And that's a lot of times where people falter, is that they just don't try. Sometimes you just got to try to do what you do it. And if you fail, okay, but get back up and try it again and learn from your mistakes. So one of the biggest things, get up and do it. If it fails, learn from the mistake and try it again. Because nothing's going to be perfect that first time you try it. That first time you go out, the
Absolutely
first
right.
time you think about it. The first time you tried to tie your shoes, were you successful on the first try? No, you had to keep doing it. Somebody had to keep showing you until you got it. So that's just like trying something new or getting out and doing something. You just got to think about it. I didn't learn how to tie my shoes in one day, so what makes me think I'm gonna get this venture up and running in one day?
Exactly. Exactly. Those are the nuggets that I'm talking about. What does your legacy mean to you at this stage of your journey?
Oh my gosh. And that's an interesting question because honestly, I never even thought about legacy. And I know that I'm behind because okay, so let me clarify that. Because for one, I'm not married. I don't have children. And so in my mind that's what legacy equates to me. Uh having that family, having that. And so I was like, well, I guess it's just gonna be me, mine, I. And when it happened, when the Lord calls me home, the Lord calls me home. But then I started to think about what about my nieces and my nephew? What do I want them to remember about they Tia Deborah or they ain't Deborah? What do I want them to think about? So now I'm thinking like I'm making sure that I am doing these different shows. I'm writing down what I want to be written down so that they will be able to see that my auntie was a hard worker, and if she can do it, I can do it. If she started it, how can I finish it? So leaving legacy for me is definitely beginning to come more to the forefront than it ever has because I want them to be able to see that they don't have to stay in the state that they're in. And maybe through them we'll start seeing even the world to grow better because and then part of the legacy is what we're building in Kenya. What's our next steps there? And so I want them to be able to say that we were hard workers, that we were givers, that we loved what we do, and we showed up for everybody. Now we may not have showed up the way you wanted us to, but we showed up.
Well, don't cut yourself too short with saying that you're not married, you don't have children, as far as somebody to leave your legacy to, because if that was the case, then people like Maya Angelou wouldn't write the things that she has written, and we still remember to this day. And of course, nobody can copy her because there was only one Maya Angelou, but we respect her craft, and that's a legacy she left behind. Maybe for her own children, her own son, but me not being related to her, I look at it and say, wow, I admire the different things about her. And then when I start to write, I say, oh no, my answer wouldn't think that that would be the proper thing to write, or that wouldn't be that. I'm not a poet or anything like that, but sometimes I think about her when I'm writing, certain stories. So your legacy is going to live on for other people, not just your relatives. It's going to live on for, other people want to write. Maybe somebody will pick up or listen to this 10, 15 years from now, or hear it, or somehow it's going to be recorded in some other type of way with some new fashion AI, or maybe called ABC. I don't know what it may be called by then. That's
Right?
the hopefully I'm still around. And they may hear it just like we hear old songs, or and they repeat things and they change it, like within the record business. No shade against them, but a lot of the younger people, their music came from before they were even born, and they're tapping
Absolutely.
into it. So that's going to be the same thing that happens to writers and authors. That they're people are going to look at our style. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to duplicate it, but they're going to find a way to refine it, and
Absolutely.
it's going to be their time in their generation. So we all, I believe, are leaving some sort of legacy behind. It's just that we just got to figure out what it is. But we may not have to figure it out at the
And
same time. We're just
exactly,
doing it.
exactly. And
So
and
what's
I
next for
think
you?
that is so powerful about what you just said about legacy. But again, so many times, and it kind of goes back to one of the questions that you asked earlier. So many times we don't think that our stories matter, but that is part of our legacy. Because think about it, like you said, 10 years from now, somebody can hear your story and know that, oh my God, if she did this 10 years ago, why can't I do this now? If she saw success doing this, or she was able to um, survive not having all the things that she needed, why can't I?
Exactly. Exactly. They improved on the television. They improved on the 1956 Chevys. They improved on it. People,
Absolutely.
people, and I wouldn't mind having a 56 Chevy right about now, but when you look at it, modern times have improved or changed it. I'm not going to say they improved it because if you get hit by a 1956 Chevy, you
Oh yeah,
done.
it's a wrap.
Your whole
It's a
vehicle is
wrap.
done. So I wouldn't say that it was improved. It just looks different, and it just changed within time. And that's what's going to happen with our writing. It's going to change within time. When we look at people like with John Hancock and when they was signing bills and everything, the way that they were doing it and the way that they were signing it, it's different than the way we do it now. And that's going to happen, later on. History repeats itself, but it repeats itself as a refinement. That's the way that I look at it.
Absolutely.
So, other people may look at it differently. But what's next for you? And how can our listeners stay connected to your work? Because you have such great work and you're always on. I don't even know if they can even catch up with you because you're always on the go.
I'm
By the
like,
way, have y'all seen those Christmas pictures of hers? I don't want nobody to skip over that. I've seen them. Don't think that I
Um,
didn't. I saw that. I said, wait a
that
minute.
was me learning. That was me learning some new software on those Christmas pictures. And I was trying to make sure that they looked like me. So, because so many
They
people were
did.
posting those Christmas pictures, and I'm like, that is not you. Oh my God, that is not you. But I have definitely been working on that. And so you can find me on everything Deborah Franklin. You can go to deborahfranklin.com. You can learn more about me there, as well as on all social media. I'm Deborah Franklin. If you want to catch my podcast, you can go to YouTube at Conversations DeborahFranklin.com, Conversations Deborah on YouTube. And if you want to find out any about my books, they're there as well. And y'all, I'm just so excited. We are going to be doing. We have started our book tour. So we launched it in Alabama this week. We'll be in Houston on February the 21st, and then we'll be back here in Atlanta on February the 28th. And as soon as we know, we are definitely coming to the DMV. And as soon as we get those dates, we'll
Hey,
share those out as well.
wow, this was one incredible conversation. You guys may just be able to go stand out in your library and say, look, I need to get some information on Deborah Franklin. And the librarian might be able to tell her because, like I said, she's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you just Deborah Franklin, Deborah Franklin, Deborah Franklin. But this has been an incredible conversation. I want to give a huge thank you to Deborah Franklin for joining us tonight and reminding us that our stories matter and that strategy, faith, and authenticity can see. I have a problem with that word too. Authenticity can coexist. Be sure to check out her book, 21 Minutes of Prayer for Authors, Trusting the Process with DFP, Deborah F. Franklin. Deborah F. Publishing, that's what it is, and connecting with her through the DFP group. And to learn more about her work with storytelling, visibility, and AI strategy, I'm not going to count AI strategy out yet. I'm going to test it and see where I'm at. But if I have problems, I'm going to give you a call because I got to feel I am. I'm still old school, still the old way of doing things. Look, I'll even go to the library and look something up.
Oh,
As always, thank you for rocking with Basic Black After Dark. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs encouragement to trust their voice and their process. Tune in on February 20th. I'll be sitting down with Keisha Sunshine Pace. I'm Black Diamond, and until next time, remember you don't have to be whole to be worthy. And thanks for keeping it basic. Good night, everybody. Got to get me on the AI. I definitely have to know more about it. There's some
oh,
things that I
come
thought
on.
that I wanted to do with it. So, yeah, you got to show me, you got to tell me something because I've seen the pictures and they're just wonderful. And I said,
Oh,
I
thank
got to
you.
get into this AI. They were beautiful when I flipped through when I saw it on Facebook. I said, wait a minute, I recognize that person. And I went back. I said, that is Deborah. I said, go ahead.
Because I what
It
I was
was
doing,
really,
I was
really
playing
nice.
around with hair color, and then I've been learning how to keep it true so it doesn't change my body type. Because I was like, I don't want somebody to think I'm trying to catfish them. And so what I did is I make sure I've been loading up the pictures, because even the one that I'm using where I'm in a full body red suit, that looks like me. So all I did was took a picture and changed the color of the clothes, changed the outfit.
Well, I thought it was a beautiful picture, and I thought it was right on time for the holidays. And I was like, okay, she's coming out with something. No, here it is for the holidays. This is this. I can't wait to see what's going to come for 2026. And here you are with this book
I,
and your
I'm
novels, and you're traveling back and forth and your tours. And I said, she's everywhere, everybody. She's just everywhere. And I'm just so proud of you. I am so, so
Thank
proud
you.
of you and the work that you do in Kenya and the work that you're doing with publishing and everybody else.
I appreciate you. And I apologize because I don't know what was going on with my
It's
stuff.
not you, like I said, it's just up in the air. It's just up in the air, and that's the way that it is. What I'm thinking about doing is moving my office from down here to upstairs. But then, if I say it too loud, that means I got somebody else trying to move in here because they see it's an extra room. So I just try to keep this filled. I try to keep it filled because then here you got an extra room. They're ready to move in, and I got
Exactly.
kids, and they're just looking at. I got a space over there. No, you don't. You
That
don't
is
have a
too
space
funny.
over there. That's my office. So many of them already told me to move it up to my bedroom for what? My bedroom is for me. This is my office space, and no, I'm not. So I got to figure out how I can get this to look a little bit different. And I might be trying to get my equipment brought downstairs. So maybe that could be it too. Maybe I'm too far away from it. I
Hmm.
don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll try to figure it out. My daughter's the techie person. I'm not. I'm still typing and doing one of these kind of things and trying to bring back Mavis Beacon. If I can bring her back, she can help me out. I'll be good.
Absolutely.
So that's how far back I am. I'm not good. Now, look, you mentioned shoes, tying shoes. I still do the rabbit. I still do the
Right?
rabbit. I don't know how to do the other way. I don't know. And then this thing the kids do like this and all that stuff. I don't know how to do that. My grandson be doing all that. Come on, grandma, do. I said, what does that mean? What is all of that? I said, you got that? Says that gang sign? You're 9 years old doing that. I said, no, we ain't doing all of that. I have no
No,
idea
that's
what that
right.
is. I think it's rock, paper, scissors, something. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? So I'm just behind in some stuff. So it's a good thing I have grandchildren. They'll catch me up with some
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely. I tell everybody, them
They'll
kids
catch me up.
got it. The kids got it.
Oh, yeah, they do. They might have to teach me with this AI stuff because I'm quite sure they're using it behind
Oh,
my back. I'm
absolutely.
quite sure they're using it because some
Well,
of them not
yes
supposed to be
and
on the
no. I
internet.
have noticed that a lot of the kids are still behind on the AI. They're using AI to write papers, but not they don't know how to use it effectively, like to build an additional stream of income. So that's where I'm seeing the difference with them.
See, now you mentioning building a stream of income. That could be something next that you might be doing.
Yeah, I
'Cause I
am.
got some. Oh, well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I might have to sit in on that class myself
Oh yeah. So
to know
we
how to bring in an
'cause
extra
I
stream of
still
income.
see we live. Are we live?
Yeah, we are. I'm not worried about that. The people
Okay.
want to hear and listen, they can hear and listen. These are little nuggets that they can hear. This is that free stuff that you guys are going to get. So take it because I don't give out free stuff often. And she's nice
Absolutely,
enough to keep us live
absolutely.
because we're in the
So
middle of a
even with
conversation. But I did say good night to
being an
everyone.
AI strategist, I'm going to be doing some workshops. I have a virtual workshop coming up now, February the 25th and the 26th. We it was supposed to drop, but I was so, oh my god, we got so turned around and I was so tired. So we'll be dropping that this weekend. The registration will open back up for that. Um for that, this is going to be a Wednesday night and a Thursday night. So you'll be able to come on live and learn some AI strategies to help you move your business forward. We're going to be talking about how do you have AI workers, because some of the things that I do, I'm able to have an AI tool that will do it for me. So
Oh, Lord, if
a
you
lot
need
of
to know,
times people
please
say,
send that
"Deb, you
information
online
to me.
so much," and I'm like, "No, actually, I'm not." And so to help you keep that visibility going
Well,
and
please
how
send
to
that to me
tailor it.
because I definitely need to know. Are you recording this session as well?
Yes, it will be recorded. um so even if you even for those that those that register will also be able to they'll get the recordings. So even if they aren't able to make it live, they'll still get the recordings from that night. And then we're gonna have a special VIP session as well, for those that want to go a little deeper and make it more business, make it more tailored to what they do. That's what we'll be doing during the VIP session.
Well, just send me the stuff for the AI. I gotta do baby steps. I can't do no VIP right now,
All
and
right,
I'm barely able to do the ABCs of it. So that VIP, that's that advanced stuff. I'm
right.
at the look. I'll sit there with second graders and be sitting there going right along with them. I don't care as long as I can
Understood.
learn how to do it.
Understood.
I'm good because
Understood.
they may show me how to do something on there and say no, miss. And when they start calling me Miss and Ma'am, that's when I know it's a done deal.
That's
So
true.
I'm in.
But
Just
yeah,
just send me the information so I know
we'll
about it.
do. We'll do.
All right.
We'll do.
And I'm finally going to say good night to everybody because see that's an extra little tip that you got. So that means to tune in more often with our show because anything happens on this show, and it usually does. Good night, everybody. For real, for real.
Good
See you
night,
later.
everybody.